Great. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're looking at Exodus 3. We're going to kick off from verse 11. It's been really exciting looking through this Exodus story while we're on lockdown. So, yeah, great. Tim, it would be great if you could pray for us. And then, Tom, are you able to read for us from verse 11?
Fine.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, God, thank you that we can have this time to come together today to look at your word. Thank you for what we've read so far in this story of Moses. And I just pray, God, as we look at the story again today, that we would just learn more about you, we discover more of you, God, that we would grow in our relationship with you, God. I just pray that your spirit would be with us today. Amen.
Amen.
Before we jump in, let's just have a review of what's happened. We don't need anything that detailed, but just where we're at with it. Girls, Vicky, Susie, Liberty, do you want to jump in with where we've got to with this? You don't need to be super detailed, just like a quick 30-second, 1-minute overview. Go, Liberty, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So Moses was put in a basket and the princess found baby, and then Moses' mother got paid to look after Moses by the princess, and then Moses is all grown up, and he goes into a cave or something, or finds a burning bush, and the bush isn't actually burning, but it's on fire. God's calling him because he wants him to lead people.
Great, cool. Thanks, Liberty. So we're going to pick up the story, verse 11. Tom, if you go for that, that'd be really good.
Yeah, that's fine. But Moses said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?"
Actually, just pause there. Just pause. Who is Moses? What do we know about Moses so far for answering that question? Like, what do we know that Moses is? Who is he? Vic, Susie, either one of you two want to answer that?
Yeah.
He's a Hebrew, but he was brought up an Egyptian. But then he killed someone and ran away.
Yeah. The kind of who am I, like we ask that question of God sometimes, don't we? Of like, who am I that I should be doing this, doing that, doing the other. Not many of us have murdered somebody, but Moses has that on his name. Like, yeah. Anyway, he's like, who am I? He's really focusing on himself. God's saying, I want you to do this thing. And Moses is focusing on himself. Sorry, Tom, do you want to carry on? Verse 12.
Yeah.
Let's look at God's response.
And God said, "I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain."
Okay, pause there. What was God's response? Moses' focus was on himself. What was God's response to Moses?
God's just like, I'll be with you. Like, that's just, don't worry about, what you do. I'll be with you. I'll be there.
He also tells him what's going to happen, doesn't he? He's like, straight away, he's like, I'll be with you, and once you've got everyone, you're going to be back at this mountain, and you're going to worship me on this mountain, which is pretty cool. Like, he has that prophecy for it.
It's a bit of a strange sign, though, isn't it? Like, I'd quite want a sign there and then, rather than the sign is, in the future, you'll come back here. I'd quite want a sign which is, and here is like your, I don't know, here's something amazing that's going to happen, or here's a flash in the sky, which is your sign. But his sign was, in the future, you're going to come back here and worship on this mountain.
Yeah. Moses said to God, "Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you.' And they ask me, 'What is his name?' Then what shall I tell them?" God said to Moses, "I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you."
Okay, pause. Thanks, Tom. What is that bit about? Anyone got any thoughts over those few verses?
It's interesting because God's already introduced himself in the last part we read as, the father or the God of Abraham, your father, and Jacob and Isaac, and all those people. He's kind of announced himself to Moses as that. But then when Moses goes to the Israelites, he doesn't say to them, announce me as the God who told me he's the God of Jacob and Isaac and Abraham. He's just said, no, actually, just say to them, I am who I am, which is quite, it's big. That's different, isn't it?
I mean, actually, we come to that bit where he does say that in verse 15, but we're not quite there yet. But the first thing that he says is what you've just said. I am who I am. What do you reckon he means by that, Tim? That I am who I am bit?
I think he's just saying, like, I don't have to justify myself. I am the Almighty. I am everything, kind of thing. He's kind of just a statement, isn't he? Saying it's like you shouldn't have to be able to justify me because I am already God.
Yeah. And there's this kind of mystery about it, isn't it, as well? Like if someone said, if I said to Moses, if Moses said, well, what's your name? I'd just say, oh, my name's Ruth. But there's this mystery about I am who I am. It's the kind of like, I'm all sufficient. I'm all powerful. I am I am, and I'm everything. Yeah. I don't know whether it would help me hearing that or not help me. I don't know what I'd think, but any other thoughts on those few verses?
Yeah, I kind of feel like going on from like 12 to 13, like Moses then just has like so many more questions, doesn't he? Like God's told him like what will happen in the end, but then Moses is kind of like, okay, well, what's the middle bit? Like what's going to happen in the middle? Like when I actually go like, like great, you've told me I'm going to succeed in the end, but what's going to happen in between that?
I think the other thing that sort of stood out to me is even though sort of Moses is still evidently like really nervous, really scared about, everything that he's been asked to do, God is very much speaking with a lot of authority, and it's very clear that God's got a lot of authority. So like the first thing is, who am I to do this? And then God said, I will be with you. And like, if you've not got that authority and that power, you can't just say that because you won't be there for him. But straight away, it's like, I'll be there. And it'll be clear that I'm sending you. I am who I am. Like he's speaking with a lot of authority, and it's very evident. Like this God is like very powerful. He knows what he's doing. Like, so yeah, I think obviously God's speaking with a lot of authority. Yet Moses is still sort of really nervous. And again, like we said earlier, he's just sort of focusing on like who he is as a person rather than the authority God's got.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Should we carry on?
Yeah.
Great.
God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name by which I am to be remembered from generation to generation. Go assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt. And I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt, into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. The elders of Israel.
We'll just pause there. Sorry, just pause there. What's God saying during that bit between 15 and 17? I feel like God is saying to them, I want you to look back at the past, at where I've been in the past. How did anyone see bits in that passage where God has said that? Where God reminds them of the past?
Yeah, he's obviously sort of just referring to like the ancestors. So like I was the God of Abraham, and like I was with Abraham through all of that, and then I was the God of Isaac, I was the God of Jacob. Like I'm the same God that has brought all your ancestors through various different sort of problems. I've made promises and kept them to your ancestors. I'm that same God. So yeah, he's just referring back to everything that he's sort of done and who he is, and I guess almost just trying to reassure Moses of who he is.
Yeah, I find that really helpful in my life sometimes when I'm in a place of panic or worry or whatever, of looking back onto what God has done in the past through some of the heroes of the faith in the Bible, but also in my life, and some of the promises that God makes. It's really helpful to look back at God's presence in the past, but also his promises that he's made in the past, and kind of carry them with us. Okay, verse 18. We'll go verse 18 through to the end of chapter 3.
Cool. The elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, "The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the desert to offer sacrifice to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that, he will let you go. And I will make the Egyptians favorably disposed towards this people, so that when you leave, you will not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor and any woman living in a house for articles of silver and gold and for clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters, and so you will plunder the Egyptians."
Brilliant. Any thoughts from that passage? Where is God causing them to look now? He's just looked back, but where are they asked to look now?
Like looking just forward into what's going to happen. Like God's saying, look, this is what you're going to do. This is the part you're going to play, and this is exactly what's going to happen. And like he's obviously speaking in such like great detail. I guess again, he's just trying to sort of say, like, this is what's going to happen. These are all like the finer details. And I think if someone says to you like in very fine details, you're probably much more likely to be confident in that and believe that, I guess.
Yeah. But just kind of thinking, okay, from this passage, how is this passage at all relevant to what we're going through at the moment? How can we put this passage into practice at the moment? We'll just go around each person, say one bit that stands out to us from this passage that we can put into practice in our life today, either as an encouragement or something practical that we could do. Liberty, anything that stands out to you?
From when God says that about all the ancestors and stuff like that, about saying, yeah, you're the descendant of this, that, and the other. It's that kind of thing where you have to remind yourself, like what you said, that you're actually part of that as well. And you know, God has a plan for you, and he's put you on the earth to do something. It might not be the same thing as Moses, but it will be something important because it will be connected to you.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, I like that when he's looking forwards, it's not just he's not just looking forward to anything, but he's kind of saying that not only will I take you through this kind of tough time or this challenge that you're going to face, but I'm also going to make you prosper. He's like saying to them, it's like if you continue to follow me, if you do as you're asked, then actually I'm going to allow you to overcome the adversaries completely. So like he's even said to them in there, it's like, you know, you can ask for the people around you for articles of silver and gold and for clothing, and they will give it to you. It's quite cool how God's just like, he knows that they're going to be able to prosper from this whole situation.
Yeah, that's great. Vicky?
Yeah, I think just the end of verse 16 and the start of 17, where it says, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt, and I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land. And then it goes on. But just the fact that like God is like, I've watched over you, I've seen what you're going through, and I've promised to bring you out of that. And I feel like we can think about that now in terms of like what we're going through. Like God sees us and he cares for us, and he's always with us, and he's always going to be with us. So just remembering that through what that we're going through.
Yeah, I was just thinking, just God saying, like, I am who I am, like verse 14, like, he's, like, that's all we need. He is enough. Just remembering his power at the moment, I think.
Yeah, and Tom?
Yeah, I think just going over, like, throughout the passage, God has been there in the past, he's here now, and he's going to be there in the future. And, like, he's all knowing. Like, he talks about, he knows the king of Egypt and what he will be like. He knows the minds of people. Like, he knows people inside out, and he's always been there for us. He's here for us now, and he'll always be there in the future. I think that's just very comforting and sort of reassuring. Like, he's this all-knowing, but all-present God as well. Like, he's always there, and he sort of knows everything. And yeah, that's just really reassuring.
Yeah, so good. I think that's it for me as well. We're in this snapshot where we can look back and say, wow, God has been present in the past. God has got promises, and we can look to the future and say he has got plans for the future. So just you were saying, really good. Cool. Susie, do you want to end in prayer for us?
Yeah, Lord, we thank you for this time that we've had to read your word together, Lord. Thank you for the reminder that you keep your promises, Lord. And I thank you that you're with us always, now and into the future as well. In your precious name, amen.
Amen. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow. Exodus 4 tomorrow begins to get a bit more exciting. Well, it's quite an exciting passage anyway, but yeah, join us tomorrow for Exodus 4. Thanks. Bye.